Let's get real. What she says she feels when you're not around is probably not the full story. In fact, it might just be the opposite. You see, most men have no idea what goes through a woman's mind when they're not around. Some of you are out here thinking she's crying on her pillow because you haven't texted back. Nah. She's laughing with her friends, scrolling through her options, and maybe, just maybe, getting emotionally closer to someone else. Now, before you start shouting, "Not all women," slow down. This isn't about hating women. It's about understanding them. Female psychology isn't about manipulation. It's about truth. And the truth is, her emotions are not static. They move with energy, attention, and options. If you're not present, not consistent, not felt in her world, you slowly become invisible. But here's the twist. Even if she misses you, even if she cares, she's constantly battling something deeper, her need for security versus her desire for stimulation. When you're not around, her mind fills in the blanks. That could mean she fantasizes about you, or it could mean she starts rethinking your whole role in her life. Women don't always speak these shifts out loud, but they feel them. And those feelings shape decisions. Some men assume distance makes the heart grow fonder. That's only true if you've already made her feel safe, seen, and desired. If not, that silence just turns into space for someone else to step in. Someone she doesn't even have to know yet. Just the idea of someone better can start pulling her emotional focus away from you. This video is for men who want to stop guessing, stop begging, and start understanding what's really happening in a woman's mind when you're not there. We're about to break down the psychology, not the fairy tale. If you're ready to stop being blindsided by, "I just don't feel it anymore," then listen closely. Because once you understand this, you'll realize being gone isn't the problem. Being forgotten is. 1. She doesn't miss you. She misses the feeling. Let's clear something up. When a woman says, "I miss you," she might not actually mean you. What she really misses is the feeling she had when she was with you. The attention, the validation, the safety, the excitement. Once that feeling fades, you could be physically gone, emotionally distant, or even still in her life. And yet, she still misses something. It's not about your name. It's about her experience. Here's what most men don't realize. Women are emotionally attached to experiences, not resumes. It doesn't matter how much you provide, how long you've been with her, or how loyal you've stayed. If the feeling she gets when you're around doesn't light her up, it starts to fade. And once it fades, so does her emotional connection to you. You're thinking, "But I was solid. I was consistent." That's great. But was she feeling alive with you? Did she feel chosen, pursued, prioritized? Or did she start to feel like she was just part of your routine? Let me make it real. Let's say there's a man named Chris. He's dating Jasmine. Chris is loyal, always there, never cheats, pays for things, gives her space. On paper, he's perfect. But Jasmine isn't feeling that rush anymore. When Chris leaves town for work, she doesn't sit by the phone. She scrolls through old texts, not with him, but with the ex who made her feel like the center of the universe. Why? Because that feeling was intense. Messy? Yes, but real to her emotional system. So even though Chris is everything a good man should be, she doesn't miss him. She misses how she used to feel loved. That's what most men never see coming. You can be present and still be unfelt. You can be loyal and still be forgettable. So if she's not calling, if she's distant, if she's just tired, don't assume she's cold. Assume the feeling she once had around you is gone. And if you want her back, don't just come back as the same man. Come back with the feeling she actually fell for. 2. She's testing your absence without telling you. Let's make something crystal clear. Silence doesn't always mean she's busy. Sometimes it means you're being tested. Women are rarely going to say, "I'm pulling away to see how you react." That's not how female psychology works. Instead, she becomes less available, slower replies, fewer calls, colder energy. She starts creating space, not to disappear, but to see what you do in the silence. This is where a lot of men fail. You think, she just needs space, or she'll come around. But the truth? She's watching everything. How fast you notice, how strong you react, how much you actually care. The test isn't always about punishment. It's about confirmation. She wants to see, do you still value her if she pulls away? Will you chase her emotionally or give up? Are you even aware she's withdrawing? Most men miss the signs. You assume everything's fine until the "we need to talk" moment shows up like a wrecking ball. But trust this, the test started weeks before that. She already noticed your energy was lazy, your effort was low, your conversations lacked depth. She didn't want to confront it directly. She wanted to feel if you still had that fire for her. What hurts a lot of women isn't even that you failed the test. It's that you didn't even know there was one. And here's the twist. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't test you at all. Testing means there's still a part of her hoping you show up differently, that you bring back the presence, the pursuit, the passion she fell for. She's hoping you notice the emotional gap before she fills it elsewhere. This doesn't mean you should chase her like a lost puppy. It means you stay emotionally aware. If her tone changes, don't brush it off. If she goes quiet, don't get louder. Get smarter. Give her space, yes, but balance it with intentional energy. She's not just testing your absence. She's testing whether your presence actually meant anything in the first place. 3. Other men start looking more interesting. Here's a hard truth most men don't want to hear. When you're not around, she starts noticing other men. Not necessarily because she wants them, but because she starts wondering, could I feel more alive with someone else? It's not always about cheating. It's about emotional contrast. When your energy fades, your presence gets boring, or your attention feels routine, her mind starts opening doors. Not even physical ones, emotional ones. The barista who remembers her name, the guy at work who makes her laugh, the stranger who compliments her with eye contact that lingers just a little longer. These things stick. Why? Because they remind her she's still desired, still seen. The problem is, a lot of men think loyalty is enough, that being not a cheater means you're irreplaceable. But here's the twist. A woman can stay loyal and still drift away emotionally. She'll stay in the relationship, but her curiosity starts to grow. Not because she wants chaos, but because she feels like something's missing. And when a woman feels emotionally starved, even a crumb of attention feels like a feast. Let's be honest, men do this too. But with women, it's more internal. It's more emotional than physical. She starts mentally comparing. Would someone else listen more? Would another man challenge me more? Would I feel more feminine, more desired, more alive with someone else? These aren't questions she always says out loud, but they're real, and they're dangerous. Because when the idea of someone else starts feeling better than the reality of you, you're already losing. You might still be her boyfriend, you might still be her husband, but emotionally, she's pulling away. So what do? You stop acting like being around her is enough. You start showing up like she's still worth impressing. You stay unpredictable. You bring new energy. You keep her emotionally engaged, because the second she starts looking around, it's not about other men being better. It's about you no longer being exciting. 4. She feels emotionally single, even in a relationship. Let's stop sugarcoating it. A woman can be fully committed to you and still feel completely alone. Not because she's dramatic, Not because she's ungrateful, but because you've stopped showing up emotionally. You might be physically there, sleeping in the same bed, texting every day, checking the boyfriend box. But let's be honest. When was the last time you actually saw her? Not just looked at her, not just nodded at her story while scrolling your phone, but really made her feel like the center of your world, even for 5 minutes. This is where a lot of men get lazy. You think being loyal is the job. You think paying bills, fixing stuff around the house, showing up on holidays, that's enough. But bro, she's not your employee. This isn't a transaction. She wants to feel chosen, craved, understood. And if she doesn't feel that, she starts to feel emotionally single. That's the part that stings. Because while you think everything's fine, she's silently pulling away. She's venting to her friends. She's emotionally disconnecting. She's building a version of herself that doesn't need you anymore because you've become emotionally unavailable. Here's the criticism. Too many men want loyalty from a woman they stopped pouring into. You want her to stay loyal, stay soft, stay emotionally connected. But you forgot that women don't run on autopilot. They run on energy, on emotional consistency. You can't just set it and forget it. When she starts acting different, quieter, colder, less affectionate, it's not random. She's not being petty. She's being honest with her emotions. And you're the one who stopped noticing. It's time to wake up. You can either keep thinking she's just moody or realize she's emotionally slipping away, right in front of you. And if you wait until she says she's done, chances are she emotionally left months ago. Don't just hold her hand, hold her heart. Every day, or one day, you'll look around and realize she was in a relationship with herself the whole time. 5. She replays what you lacked, not what you gave. Here's a pill most men don't want to swallow. When she starts emotionally checking out, she doesn't replay the good times. She replays the gaps. That's what lingers. Not the vacations, not the I love yous, not the gifts, but the times you didn't listen, the times you dismissed her feelings, the moments she felt invisible while lying right next to you. You might think, but I did a lot for her. And maybe you did. But understand this. What sticks in a woman's emotional memory isn't what you gave. It's what you missed. See, when a woman reflects on a relationship, she doesn't just think about what happened. She thinks about what she needed, but never got. The affection she stopped asking for. The support she needed but stayed silent about. The effort that slowly disappeared while you assumed she'd always be there. And let's be honest, most men only start asking what went wrong after it's already broken. But by then, she's already gone through every emotional replay in her mind. She's already tallied the times she felt emotionally starved, misunderstood, or second place to your ego, your phone, your grind. It's not that the good times didn't matter. They did. But good moments don't erase consistent emotional neglect. And women don't leave relationships just because of one bad thing. They leave because of a long pattern of emotional gaps that you refuse to notice. That's the danger of being the nice guy who thinks being not toxic is enough. It's not. You can be a good man and still fail to feed her emotionally. You can show up physically while being mentally unavailable. And when she starts pulling away, don't be shocked when her reason sounds like, "It wasn't one thing. I just didn't feel loved anymore." You thought you were giving her everything, but in her mind, all she remembers is what was missing. And that's the part that echoes long after you're gone. 6. She romanticizes the breakup before it happens. By the time she says, "I think we need to talk," she's already had that conversation in her head 100 times, with herself, with her future self, with the version of her that's already free. See, men think breakups happen in a moment. One fight, one slip-up, one emotional outburst. But women? They start breaking up with you while they're still smiling next to you. Emotionally, mentally, quietly. And here's the kicker. She doesn't just fear the breakup, she starts romanticizing it. She pictures peace. She imagines the version of her that doesn't have to repeat herself, doesn't have to beg for effort, doesn't have to shrink to avoid conflict. And when that version starts to look more beautiful than the reality of being with you, you've already lost her emotionally. Here's what most men don't understand. She doesn't leave on impulse. She leaves on build-up. She gives you time. She gives you chances. She drops hints. She gets quiet. She emotionally disconnects. And when she finally does leave, it's not for the streets. It's for her sanity. She dreams of waking up without anxiety, of not checking her phone to see if you finally said something meaningful, of not having to explain herself again. And in those daydreams, she doesn't see herself sad. She sees herself peaceful, and that vision becomes powerful. By the time you notice the distance, she's already built the exit plan. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because she tried. She waited for you to meet her emotionally, and you kept putting it off. You thought love was just about presence, but she needed intimacy, awareness, and emotional security. And when that never showed up, her mind filled the gap with fantasy. Not of another man, but of a different version of her life, one where she's no longer emotionally starving. So when she leaves and you ask, "How did we get here?" she'll say, "I've been here for a while. You just never noticed." 7. She starts matching your energy, quietly. Here's where it gets quiet. Not loud, not explosive, just numb. She's not arguing anymore, not begging for your attention, not asking, "What's wrong with us?" And you might think, finally, she's chill again. But what's really happening is this. She's no longer trying to fix it. She's adjusting to it. See, at first, she cared. That's why she complained. That's why she got emotional. That's why she brought things up over and over again. But eventually, she gets tired. Not just physically, emotionally tired of leading a relationship by herself. So what does she do? She starts matching your energy. You take hours to text back? Now she does too. You stop asking how she's doing? She stops telling you. You get emotionally lazy? She becomes emotionally unavailable. But she doesn't say a word. No warning, no drama. She just slowly, silently becomes a reflection of you. And here's the part that hits. You won't even notice at first. Because you thought the old her would always be there. The sweet, the giving, the consistent, the present. But when she realizes her softness was being taken for granted, she flips the switch. Not to hurt you, just to protect herself. She starts withdrawing her energy, step by step, day by day, until it's equal to yours. Not because she stopped loving you, but because you stopped making it safe for her to love you fully. This is how men lose women in silence. You think everything is fine until one day she's indifferent. She doesn't get jealous. She doesn't care where you've been. She doesn't ask what you're doing. She's already halfway out, and you're just now feeling the chill. When a woman starts matching your energy, that's not a win. It's a warning. It means you were leading, and she just followed you into the dead zone. So if she's gone quiet, cold, distant, check yourself before you check her, because chances are she's just giving you exactly what you gave her. 8. She craves. Emotional chaos, not calm. Let's say something men don't like to admit out loud. Sometimes she gets bored with your peace. You think being calm, consistent, and drama-free makes you the safe choice. And it does. But here's the twist. Being safe doesn't always mean being satisfying. Some women, whether they realize it or not, are addicted to emotional highs and lows. Not because they're toxic, but because they've been conditioned to mistake chaos for connection. So what happens when you're steady? You don't argue. You don't raise your voice. You don't play games. You just show up, stay present, stay loyal. Sounds like a dream, right? But to her nervous system, used to roller coasters, you're calm, starts to feel like flatline. And when you're not around, she starts missing the chaos. Not because she likes pain, but because in past relationships, pain was how she knew she was alive. The fights, the emotional intensity, the dramatic makeups, the twisted sense of passion that felt like love, but was actually just emotional instability. So now, when you give her peace, she misinterprets it as boredom. She thinks, maybe I'm not in love anymore. Not because you're wrong, but because her brain is addicted to conflict. And here's the painful part. The guy who gives her emotional chaos often feels more exciting than the one who gives her emotional safety, even if he lies, even if he ghosts her, even if he's the one that broke her. He still triggers something primal, something her nervous system remembers. So now she's sitting there, scrolling through her old texts, reminiscing about someone who hurt her, while you are the one who's been showing up solid, available. Crazy, right? But this is what men need to understand. If she doesn't know peace within herself, she'll never be able to enjoy it with you. She'll keep chasing the drama, the chaos, the unpredictable, because in her mind, calm feels too quiet, too plain, too dead. This is why some women leave good men, because the love felt too easy, and they've been trained to chase what hurts. 9. She talks about you less, even to herself. There's a subtle shift that happens before a woman emotionally lets go. She stops talking about you, not just to her friends, not just on social media, but even in her own mind. You stop being part of her internal world. You see, when a woman is in love, she thinks about you constantly. You're in her morning thoughts. Her texts are filled with your name. Her stories start with, "Guess what he did?" Even your little habits become part of her daily emotional soundtrack. But when that fades, it fades quietly. No announcement, no speech, just silence. At first, she starts talking about you less to her friends. They stop hearing updates. No more "we did this" or "he said that." She's not complaining either. That's the dangerous part. Because complaints mean she still cares. Silence means she's emotionally disengaged. Then it moves inward. The internal conversations she used to have, the mental arguments, the daydreams, the hopes, the what-ifs, they stop. She doesn't run scenarios in her head anymore. She doesn't plan your future. She doesn't even replay the good memories. She replaces them. This is what most men miss. You think the danger is in her yelling. The danger is in her silence. Because when a woman no longer includes you in her thoughts, her heart is already halfway gone. And it doesn't happen all at once. It's gradual. First, she stops sending you the funny memes. Then she stops updating you on her day. Then she stops even imagining you in the moments that matter. That's when it's real. Not when she says, "we need to talk," but when her voice in your life gets quiet. That's when the emotional breakup already happened, even if you're still together on paper. So if you notice she's less expressive, less vocal, less involved, don't wait until she's physically gone to realize she's emotionally absent. Because once she stops talking about you, even in her own head, you've already been replaced by peace. 10. She's not waiting. She's replacing. Let's kill the fantasy right now. She's not sitting around waiting for you to figure it out. She's already moving on, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. You just don't see it yet. See, a lot of men think they've got time. Time to fix it. Time to get it together. Time to finally start appreciating her. But the truth is, while you're dragging your feet, she's already halfway into the next chapter of her life. And here's the part that stings. She doesn't even need to have a new man yet. She's still replacing you. She's replacing the way you made her feel with self-love, your silence, with the sound of her own healing, your emotional absence, with new hobbies, goals, experiences. You thought you had time because she didn't leave immediately. But her delay wasn't hope, it was confirmation. She was giving you the chance to prove her wrong. But you didn't. You stayed comfortable. You assumed loyalty was enough. So now? Every hour you don't check in, she stops checking for you. Every day you don't act right, she gets stronger without you. Every moment you thought she'd stick around, she's been silently building the life where you don't exist. And here's the cold part. When she finally replaces you, it won't be with someone better on paper. It'll be with someone who simply makes her feel seen. He might not have your car, your job, your lifestyle, but he'll give her something you stopped giving her: presence. By the time you realize what you lost, she won't be angry, she won't be dramatic, she'll just be done. And nothing hurts more than a woman who waited for you to step up, then quietly learned to live without you. So, while you're thinking she's loyal, she's really just leaving in stages. And once the last stage hits, she's not asking for closure. She's not giving you one last chance. She's gone. And someone else is already getting the version of her you took for granted. Here's the part no one wants to admit. A woman doesn't leave when she's tired of you. She leaves when she gets used to not needing you. That's the silent killer most men never see coming. So if you've ever thought she'd never walk away, just know this: she already did, emotionally. You just haven't caught up yet. Fellas, drop your thoughts in the comments. Be real. Have you seen this happen? Are you living it right now? Let's talk. I'll be reading through and responding. This is bigger than one video. This is your wake-up call. Let's connect.